Many people think sexuality defines you, and they often judge others based on their sexual orientation. Sexuality can be expressed in many different ways, and many factors can influence your sexuality. Some people assume that your sexuality is based on your environment and the people you surround yourself with.
But could our sexual orientation actually be determined by our genetics?
This brings us to the question of, ever wonder if your genes could determine your sexual orientation? To answer this question, we need to start with the basics. Everyone knows that we have genetic information inside our bodies.
But do we know where this information is located or how important it is to us?
This genetic information is located in our chromosomes. A chromosome is a structure found in a cell nucleus that holds DNA.
What does DNA stand for?
Deoxyribonucleic acid, better known as DNA, is found in all living organisms. Since our DNA is too important to leave the nucleus, it makes a copy of itself, which is called RNA or ribonucleic acid. The RNA then finds ribosomes, which are molecules that make up amino acid based on their RNA's information. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein.
So, what does protein do?
Everything! In fact, we have 46 chromosomes, 23 being from our mom and 23 being from our father, which means our unique traits and characteristics are inherited from our parents. When a chromosome is unwound, we can think of the structure as a winding staircase. Inside the staircase, we can see nucleotides that are made up of a phosphate molecule, sugar molecule, and a base.
But wait, what is a base?
DNA has 4 bases, also known as the building blocks, that consist of adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. All nucleotides are formed between hydrogen bonds. Adenine and thymine are connected between 2 bonds, and guanine and cytosine are connected between 3 bonds. Thanks to Chargaff's rules found by Chargaff, a man who lived in Germany, we learned that adenine always pairs with thymine and guanine always pairs with cytosine. Purines consist of adenine and guanine that are double-ringed, and pyrimidines consist of cytosine and thymine that are single-ringed. DNA has a double helix, which means it is double-stranded and is anti-parallel. We know that the 4 bases of DNA can be shortened to A's, G's, C's, and T's.
But how can we all have the same 4 letters in our DNA if we don't look the same?
Although each living organism contains these 4 bases, what makes us all unique is the different sequencing of letters we each have.
So everyone has the same 4 letters, but in different orders?
Yes, that is why it is the universal language between all living organisms. Did you know that you are 98% genetically related to a monkey and 50% genetically related to a banana?
Thanks, genetics!
The Human Genome Project, also known as HGP, was used to figure out new genetic disorders so that later we can create new drugs and genetic therapies that can help cure these disorders.
So, why is this so important?
In our DNA, we can identify which disorders we have or may have in the future and how we can prevent these disorders from becoming harmful. With this information, we can change our lives for the better. So now, using our knowledge of DNA, let's go back to the question of, ever wonder if your genes could determine your sexual orientation? The most popular question in biology is the debate between nature versus nurture. People often assume that our sexual orientation is a choice rather than being with us since the day we were born. What a lot of people don't know is that we all have a gay gene in our DNA.
Doesn't that mean everyone should be gay?
No, because of epigenetics. Epigenetics is the study of seeing the changes in the DNA without actually changing the information in the DNA, so it turns on certain genes. Over the last 5 years, Alan Sanders conducted a study for this gay gene. He collected saliva and blood samples from 409 pairs of brothers and fraternal twins. He looked at the location of the single nucleotide polymorphisms, also known as SNPs, which are genetic markers along the DNA. These SNPs are different than regular DNA sequencing, but only by a single letter, almost like a typo. In Sanders' study, the only trait that was shared among 818 subjects was being gay. Other traits, which include hair color, intelligence, and height, were all different between twins and sets of brothers. Therefore, the SNPs that were consistently found in the same location in the DNA would be associated with sexuality. Dean Hammer also did a study on this topic. Hammer is an American geneticist who is known worldwide for his research on the role of genetics in human behavior and sexual orientation. In an interview, he stated, "It adds yet more evidence that sexual orientation is not a lifestyle choice, but the real significance is that it takes us one step closer to understanding the origins of one of the most fascinating and important features of human beings." Overall, although the environment can affect someone's sexual orientation, because of the work from Alan Sanders, Dean Hammer, and many more scientists, it is clear that genes play a huge role in determining your sexual orientation. And as you can see, there is many more studies and research that needs to go into this study, and maybe we will even discover if genes affect women's sexual orientation. But in the end, it really doesn't matter what sexual orientation you identify with. whether you're heterosexual, homosexual, asexual, or any other sexual orientation. All that matters is you being happy with the way you are. Although this gay gene makes us different from one another, we can't forget that since we all have A's, G's, C's, and T's inside of us, we are all the same.